my screen could have been a little clearer.
Well, usually the phone tells you, oh, there we are.
Okay. Let's see, how do I tag you? Okay, then I just have to say with Sylvia.
Muy buenos días, gracias por estarnos acompañando aquí en Canciones de Domingo con Silvia. Y ya, como ustedes ven, tenemos a nuestra invitada aquí en el estudio y estoy muy contenta porque es una persona que aprecio mucho y vamos a estar traduciendo, vamos a dar unos pequeños resúmenes en español para que también conozcan la vida de ella, porque pues ella nada más nos va a estar hablando inglés. Aunque sí dice hola, entonces va a decirles hola a todos ustedes. Thank you so much for being with us here in Canciones de Domingo with Silvia, KUHS Denver Radio TV station. As you can see, we have our beautiful guest in the studio, and I'm so happy to have her here because it's a person that I appreciate a lot. And lately we've been talking a lot.
Yes, yes.
So it's a pleasure having you in the studio.
Thank
That's
you.
Cheryl Renee.
Hello, hola.
The golden voice. Yes. Well, welcome to Canciones de Domingo.
Thank you.
And thank you for, I mean, I know you get up early every Sunday because you know,
I do,
you
yep.
usually go to church and you know, you do your thing, you sing and everything. But this time we took her out of the church and we have her here. So
The church is with me wherever I go.
Yes, see, the Lord is with us
See?
everywhere.
See, that's how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me, we're going to be talking about your career, how you started your career, and your future plans that are very. Some people might think it's crazy, and
I think so. I think some people do think it's crazy.
And some people think that, are you okay? Like, something is wrong with you now. But you're gonna be telling us a little bit about that, and then I'll tell you what I was talking to a friend last night, and we were talking about you and your plans, and it was something that it was kind of like an eye opener for him that he's like, oh, true, but I'll tell you guys later.
Okay.
But first of all, tell Cheryl about how you started in the music business.
Okay, well, first let me say hello, hola. So happy to be here with my friend and my student. We'll go into that a little later. How I got started in the music business. My parents, I, as long as I can remember, have been around music, have been around bands, have been in venues, have heard singing in my house. My mother is a professional vocalist. My stepfather, who joined our life in 1968-69, was also a professional vocalist. And then my biological father is a preacher, and he has an amazing voice, and my mother has an amazing voice. And with God giving me the gift of song and these two individuals giving me their vocal cords, I think I did pretty good.
Oh, you have been doing amazing. I see people when they hear you singing and their skin just kind of get like, the goosebumps. And I do too. I do too, because it's just amazing. So thank you, to all the people that contributed to her voice. Because we love it. So then when you start singing that you said, okay, I'm going to start doing this professionally, when was that?
Well, it's funny because now I always sang, I always had a voice, but I started singing in choirs when I was in the 8th grade. And I was in some award-winning groups, madrigal choirs, and this was in Colorado Springs because we moved to Colorado Springs the year 2nd grade.
From where?
And I lived there from Denver.
Okay.
So I lived in Colorado Springs from 2nd grade till half of my sophomore year. Well, in that time, of course we had the groups always, my step-grandmother, that's the last time I ever say that, my bonus grandmother, Elizabeth Crow, she had a television show in Colorado Springs, and I can recall putting together a group to go and perform on her show. And again, I was in a madrigal group called Montage, and in every choir class I could get in. But I did not want to sing for a living because what I saw was struggle. Because we struggled, That's what I remember. I remember lean times, and I equated it with the music business, and I wanted, I wanted some stability. And so when we moved to back to Denver in 1978, I got with a group called the Council for Self-Development Performers. And should I look at you or the camera? You see, I'm like, okay, so I sang in a group called the Council for Self-Development Performers, and we performed around different functions. We would visit churches and whatnot. And then I started joining bands. I'm a teenager, and I was in choir at East High School for a brief time. But I didn't want to do this for a living. So when I graduated in 1980, I got a job at the phone company.
Yes, that's the way to go.
It was Mountain Bell back then. Ma Bell, my very first job. I was 17 years old, and I got a job at Ma Bell, but I quickly realized
it was a customer service.
Girl, I was an operator.
Oh,
I was an operator.
Wow.
I got a job. Yes, thank you very much. I was I did so good, but there was no excitement at Ma Bell. There was no applause at Ma Bell.
There was no audience.
No adoration. I was just Cheryl. And I wanted to be Cheryl, And that's when I quickly started realizing that, there is a difference when you have a gift, something, when you have something that, has been bestowed on you.
Something that you enjoy.
And I did enjoy it. I was just afraid. I was afraid to try and make a living at it. I didn't want to struggle. I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't want to wake up one day and not know for what my life was going to be like, for the next month and the next month. And now 45 years later, I'm still living the same way. But
some things don't change.
Hey, the music business is still, and it has a lot to do with me and the way that I am too, because I never locked into one career, one style of music, one outlet, I just always did it all. And
Experience.
Theater, recording sessions, a session vocalist, performing with bands, just whatever I could do, I wanted to do it. And then as I started planting those seeds, of course, those seeds take root. So I might say, okay, I'm only going to do bands. And then somebody call me, Cheryl, we need you for this theater production. I'm like, oh, I love theater. I love being on stage and being, in front of the stage and behind the stage. And then somebody would call me, hey, we need you to do a recording session. I love being in the studio, So I just, all these years later, I never was able to lock into one thing. But by the grace of God, I raised 3 daughters and a couple of bonus daughters, doing what I love, using my gifts and talents, and I am very proud of that.
But one of the things I think as a singer is that you can experience all these other phases of being an artist.
Yeah.
You can perform in theater. You can, you're an actress too.
Yes.
You can play with other bands, some of your favorite bands, either local or when they come to town and they're like, hey, we need somebody to help us out with, the vocals. It's like, okay, there's Cheryl Renee.
Yeah.
So you're not stuck on just one thing and thinking, oh, I wonder what would it be like, doing this or that, because you have experienced that.
And and that's the great part of it. I'm accustomed to change. And I think that had to do a lot with my youth. We moved around a lot. I think in the 3rd grade, I went to 4 different elementary schools.
I know that feeling.
So when you get used to change like that, you're open to it. You know what I mean? And I'm still open to change, even at this age. But I was able to raise my children in this business. I was, as a working entertainer, I was able to stay home with my kids during the day and sing at night. So there were definitely some pluses to that. And, and I'm still doing it. I'm still working. I'm still using my craft. There's no time limit. It's not like, when you're a dancer or you're an athlete where you may have a time limit as to how long you can do what you do,
Yes, because your body is not you know, it's not strong enough to take, you know, all those hits and stuff like that in case you're an athlete, you know, to do it to like 50, 60 years old, you know, but singing is way different.
Yes.
And especially, well, and then acting, well, you can
Right,
go
yeah,
forever.
that's right.
You know?
Shoot,
It's
we'll
like
be out.
yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of people think because, you know, you're like getting all this, like, well, you cannot act anymore. It's like, well, they need old people on movies too, so
That's
we
right.
can still work on those
Seniors.
things. Yes.
Seniors,
So
yeah.
what's going on with that? You know, but a
Mhm.
lot of people have the wrong idea of, okay, you know, I'm not in my 20s anymore. There's nothing I can do, but
Mhm.
you still can do a lot of stuff because everybody's needed at any age.
That's right. As a matter of fact, the woman who in Black Panther, a movie that I just loved,
Oh yeah.
the older lady who played one of the leaders, one of the tribe leaders. She was 89 years old when she got her first acting job for Black Panther. So you just never know.
There's still hope, guys.
There's still hope.
If you make it to 89, shoot, you know, and that's what we don't know how long we're gonna live, but at least, you know, have still goals, have some, you know, something that you still want to do, so that way you can have the motivation to keep on going.
That's
Because I
right.
think once you don't have the motivation, you know, just kind of living like day by day with like, okay, let's see what happens, or oh, I don't think that's gonna happen. So, you know, just kind of motivate yourself. There you go, 89 years old, you still have the hope.
You can do it.
We can do it. So I'm gonna translate a little bit before we go any further.
Okay, yes, yes.
So it's gonna be a small summary. So. Ok, so estaba preguntándole yo a Cheryl Renee cómo empezó ella en su carrera musical. Ella empezó porque toda su familia estaba envuelta en el negocio, en la industria de la música. Su mamá es una vocalista, el padrastro de ella también, y el papá biológico, ese también tiene bonita voz. Entonces dice que ellos fueron como los portadores también para que ella tuviera esa voz tan hermosa que tiene, y al rato la vamos a hacer cantar para que la escuchen. Estaba diciendo que ella participaba, bueno, ella nació aquí en Denver y se movieron a Colorado Springs, y allí en Colorado Springs la abuela, que le llama ya la abuela bonus, es como la abuela madrastra más o menos. Ella tenía un show de televisión, entonces ella contrataba a grupos musicales para que estuvieran cantando y tocando durante su show. Entonces a ella le tocó participar en eso. Y ella veía que como esa industria era un poco de batallar, de tener poco dinero, de estar viviendo como al día, porque no había como mucho trabajo para ellos. Entonces, ella, aunque le gustaba mucho la música, no quería hacerlo completamente porque no quería vivir de cheque a cheque a cheque. Ella quería tener una vida estable. Entonces, cuando se cambian acá a Denver, ella decide, cuando termina la preparatoria, empezar a trabajar de operadora en la compañía telefónica, que en aquel entonces, pues, es lo que empezó a hacer. Y dice que muy pronto realizó que no era lo que quería hacer ella. No estaban ahí los aplausos, no estaban ahí la gente, la audiencia, para que le diera como esa motivación. Y fue cuando dijo, esto no es lo mío. Entonces empezó a seguir tratando en el mundo de la música, y dice que ella piensa que no está donde ella quería estar porque nunca se enfocó en una sola cosa. Hizo teatro, tocó con bandas, tocó como solista, grabó para otra gente, también actúa. Entonces dice que como no se enfocó, ella piensa que ahí fue su problema. Pero como le digo yo, muchas veces el ser cantante o estar en este medio, en cualquier fase de este medio, en cualquier rama, da muchas oportunidades para estar en muchos lugares, como en el teatro, haciendo películas, haciendo shows, grabando con otras bandas. Entonces le digo, pues no se quedó con esa duda de qué se sentiría estar con esta banda. Entonces ella ya lo experimentó, y ya tuvo eso. También dice que crió a 3 hijas y a otras 2 hijas extras también haciendo eso. Estuvo con ellas durante el día, y pues en la noche era cuando trabajaba. Y dice que todo este tiempo pues todavía sigue batallando, como quien dice, en esta carrera. Pero dice que ella todavía tiene metas, y ahorita van a ver ella que todavía, a la edad que sea, todavía pueden hacer, lograr lo que se proponen. Ella ha hecho mucho teatro también. Entonces dice que muchas veces, aunque ella quería enfocarse en una sola cosa, le hablaban y le decían, Cheryl, tenemos esta obra de teatro y te necesitamos, órale, vámonos. y que dice, hey, Cheryl, vamos a grabar para tal banda, órale, vámonos, dice, porque le gustaba a ella hacer todo eso. Entonces dice que como ha podido, pues ha estado en este negocio por, como quien dice, toda su vida. Entonces aquí vamos a continuar con la entrevista. Ok. And she sings in Spanish sometimes too. Because I'm gonna tell you, my daughter and I are taking like vocal lessons with her.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm doing it for my daughter, but they're just like, you know, whatever. But you know, like sometimes I sing in Spanish, and she's doing like the chorus, you know, like she's like, oh, singing in Spanish. She's like, oh, you know, what am I saying?
Every now and then I can pick out a word. It's like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, and it's for you too. Don't just put it on asterisk.
Well, I put it on asterisk because I know like I'm not gonna get anywhere, you know, like.
But at the same time, you are a performer, and so I think it can only help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to
develop
work
on
supporting and just everything that we're working on. You know.
So sometimes you guys will hear me singing. Karaoke.
She'll be ready.
I'll be ready. But we have a lot of fun actually. You know, it's like we have a blast, and we love going over your house and just, you know, spending time with you and your puppies. I mean, I love them. It's so cute. Like we're singing and they're singing too.
Yeah, they love being down there with the music, don't they?
Exactly.
Yes.
So right now, what are you doing as far as, you know, you're in a band, you know, and is the contribution, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is one of the projects that I'm involved with.
That's one of the projects.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I've always sung all styles of music. Well, I started working with Moment's Notice Entertainment when I was 19 years old. No, I was a little older. I was 20. I was 20 years old, 21 years old. And that just exposed me to everything, because when you're doing an orchestra, and of course it was called Moment's Notice Orchestra, but we were doing privates, wedding receptions, different things like that. You got to be able to sing all different styles of music, you know? And so it was an excellent, excellent education for me, and it also exposed me to different styles of music. And so when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I got invited to sing with a gentleman, and it was bluegrass rock music. And you know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like country music. They say country is blue-eyed soul. Well, same thing, you know, bluegrass is that beat, you know, it's that constant beat and harmonizing, and, you know, and so I opened myself up to it. And since then, I've sung with Railroad Earth, and I'm on the album Believe with String Cheese Incident, Musketeer Gripweed, Coral Creek. I mean, I could just reach Great American Taxi, Colonel Bruce Hampton. That was the gentleman who I started out with in Atlanta. But anyway, I've been on almost 20 projects, some of the best projects, and I'm leaving people out, and I don't mean to do that. But
and there's so many of them.
Yeah, you know,
it's hard to remember.
It is, and but I just opened myself up to a different world, and once I went through that door, other people started inviting me to come and sing, and you know, I am that singer. It's like, hey, I just want to sing. I want to make a living doing what I do. So it's a rare gig that I will turn down, and particularly at this stage in my career, when you're working with the best musicians, the best bluegrass musicians, the best rock bands, the best jazz bands, the best R&B. You know, I'm working with the creme de la creme of musicians at this point in my life. So when they call me, yeah, I'll do it. You know, so I
sure.
So
we haven't told you what it is, Cheryl. Doesn't matter. I'm in.
Okay. So now, do you want me to keep going, or you want to interpret?
No.
Okay, I'll keep going. So the contribution you asked me about. Okay, so we were singing with Railroad Earth, and I have a vocal group called the Black Swan Singers, and we were singing with Railroad Earth, and one of the violinists in that group, Tim Carbone, invited me to go and perform with his new off-season band called The Contribution. And I walked up in there, and my mind was blown. I mean, these musicians are so excellent. I just felt like I want to play. I want to do it. And plus, I was raised in Colorado Springs, baby. I was raised on Top 40 radio, KCK, some Top 40 radio. Of course, in the 70s, you listened to everything. If you were listening to Top 40 radio, you were listening to country. You were listening to rock and roll. So I love singing rock and roll, and I have a big voice. I have a big voice for rock. So I asked them, could I be a part of the group? And they were like, of course. So we recorded an album, and it's called Wilderness and Space. And it's been a few years now. This was 2017, 2018 when that album came out. But, it's just, to me, again, since then I've recorded with Musketeer Gripweed, with the group Black Swan Singers, the Drunken Hearts. I'm just trying to think of some of the other rock bluegrass bands that I sing with. But I just have a good time,
Well, that's what it matters. I mean, why are you going to do it if you're not having a good time?
Right.
And especially when you're getting the opportunity to be with this, great musicians.
Yes.
It's incredible, especially like the night around the world.
Manuel Molina, yes. Maestro.
That was so beautiful.
Well, that's when, because I think that I was the one that recommended you to co-host that event. Was I the one that put you two together?
I don't remember.
I think I was. I think I'll just take that credit right now.
Let's say that.
I'm going to say I'm pretty sure that I made that connection. I'm not sure, though, but if nothing else, I validated it when Maestro called me and asked me. Yeah, but I had to learn a Peruvian song in their language. Eva Avelon.
Yeah, Eva Avelon.
I'm saying her name wrong. Please forgive me because I have so much respect for her. But I had to learn the song, and of course I had to sing it in Spanish. And so you were so helpful to me, because everybody is not going to be like, yeah, call me anytime and I will help you. But that's who this lady is. And she helped me get that down. And
there were some like difficult words,
yes.
Because it was kind of like the slang from, the music that you were singing. So it was like, oh, you're gonna sing this? Like when I saw the first time, like the whole lyrics, I'm like, you are? He's like,
and I was like,
yes, I am. And I'm like, all right. And so I remember that you sang it to me a couple times, and then we went and started,
you helped me with the pronunciation and make sure, it's so funny though, because I end up singing it again last year, the same song at the Maestro's program, A Night Around the World, which is a fantastic concert that happens yearly, except for COVID. COVID took everybody off their game.
Yes.
But I sang it again last year, and somebody in the audience said, "It's so funny to hear you hear you sing these words in Spanish." And that was the first time I was like, I wonder what I sound like, But it was a great deal of work, and the way that I learn music is repetition. I'm a very poor reader. And yes, I took theory in school, and yes, I took theory from the great Justin Adams. But it's one of those things like a language. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
And I am a person that I sing from my heart and soul, and so the last thing I want to do is be reading, shape notes or music notes or reading music when I'm singing. So I really rejected it, and I don't feel bad about it because the great Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, these ladies couldn't read music. They just sang from their soul, and that's what I do as well. But anyway, even though you should learn theory if you're going to be in the music business, I will say that.
Just to have like a little, background. Of
yes,
it.
And there have been a couple of occasions where it has kind of bit me that I couldn't, that I wasn't a quick reader and I couldn't, so, but, so where were we at? Did you want to translate now? Is this a good time to take a break? Well, I was talking about the contribution. See, I'm rambling, but that's because I'm with my girlfriend, okay?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, we go from here to there to there and everywhere.
Yeah.
And but that's good because it's like you remember things that you want to say instead of like, oh, I'll remember to say this later.
Yeah.
And then you forget.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm gonna do the summary.
All right, I'm just gonna take my little break here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so lo que nos estaba diciendo Cheryl René es que ella ha participado en muchas diferentes grabaciones con grupos diferentes que son muy, muy importantes. Ahorita ella está con la banda Contribución, se llama. Y esta banda tiene unos excelentes músicos. Dice ella que cuando llegó ahí se quedó impresionadísima de cómo estaban, cómo estaban tan bien organizados y cómo estaba el grupo. Y dice que desde entonces, de ahí la empezaron a invitar bandas más grandes para seguir grabando con ella. Porque ella puede cantar de absolutamente todo, dice que de rock and roll, de todo lo que le pongan, y sí tiene una voz muy fuerte, especialmente para ese tipo de música, y ella lo disfruta, ella disfruta cualquier tipo de música. Entonces dice que ha sido para ella una bendición poder haber estado grabando con todas estas bandas. Estábamos también hablando de la noche alrededor del mundo con que es el maestro Manuel Molina, es el que la hace aquí en Denver, Colorado cada año, excepto el año del cover, pero es una donde yo estuve conduciendo ese evento, que es la que ella me recomendó. Tomamos el crédito de que ella me recomendó a que yo fuera la que dirigiera el evento, y ella tuvo que cantar una canción en español. Y cuando yo estuve ahí, que me dijo, bueno, voy a cantar esta canción en español, ella me la cantó a mí, entonces ya estuvimos viendo las palabras para que ella las pronunciara bien, y ahí estuvimos estudiando y todo, y le salió excelente. La gente se quedó muy sorprendida de que ella haya cantado toda una canción en español, siendo que no habla el idioma, pero como dice ella, la repetición es lo que ayuda mucho. Dice que ella no sabe mucho leer la música y que a veces sí le ha tomado unos problemas porque no sabe leer la música, y que recomienda a la gente que está en esto que tenga por lo menos una teoría de cómo son las cosas. Pero hasta ahorita es lo que ella le ha ayudado mucho a haber estado con diferentes bandas, porque así la han estado reconociendo muchísimo. Okay, so we continue.
Okay.
But that was, I think, the night around the world. We had so much fun. I mean, it was just, oh my God. And then when you fell, remember? And
yes,
then you made a joke
ladies
later.
and gentlemen, for the first time in my career, I finished that song and I was so proud. I was so proud. And normally, okay, this is going to be funny, but because I'm big-chested, I tend to watch where I'm walking, because I'm doing this when I'm walking. I always look where I'm walking. But this night, I was so proud. I had just finished that song, and I'll tell you, and I was walking like this off the stage. I was so proud. And my heel got caught in spaghetti that was on that stage.
It was a lot of cables.
It was so many cables on it, and I bit the dust. You look at you still laughing. I bit the dust. But I hurt myself.
She did. It was bad. But she came back out.
I did. I came back out and sang.
That was your first song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was her first song. She was 2, right? You were singing 2?
I sang 2.
Yeah. And she came out and in pain. I mean, it was bad. It wasn't, I'm laughing because she started making jokes after that.
I know, because it's funny now. Now, 4 years later, it's like, you remember what I felt, girl? But back then, it was humiliation.
But the people were like impressed because she came back out.
That audience was
sang,
so wonderful.
Yeah, and you sang one of Whitney Houston?
I did. I think I sang I Have Nothing. Don't make me close one more door.
What about if you sing for us right now?
I don't want to hurt anymore. No, but again, that was what you want me to?
Yeah, I want you to sing.
Oh,
yes.
You sure you don't want to translate before I go on?
No.
Oh.
Now you got me into that.
Now, what do you want me to sing?
What about that song?
Huh?
The song, the Whitney Houston song.
Oh.
What do you think? Or just choose any of them. Just so that way they can hear you.
I want you to request a song. If I'm going to sing.
Well, I love that one from Whitney Houston.
Oh, do you now?
Yes, I do. I always
have those words committed to memory. The answer is no. Maybe I could. Let me think. I don't know that I know. I know thousands of songs, and I can sing that one, but I don't think I have it,
Just any. So that way they can hear your voice right now. And then we'll continue. So that way they know. The ones that have not heard you, you know.
Okay. See, this is why when I am performing, I have to keep a list of songs in front of me because people will come up to me and say, sing something. Now, when I was young, it bothered me. It bothered me that people would come up to me and just say, oh, you sing something. Because they'd sing it like, oh, really prove yourself.
Yes.
And most of the times I would clamp down.
It was more like an insult.
Yeah, it was, you know.
Yeah.
So then I changed it and I said, okay, I'll sing something, but you have to pick the song. If you can't pick the song, I'm not going to sing it. So.
I said one of Whitney Houston, if you have one of Whitney Houston's.
One of Whitney Houston songs, okay. Let's see, she had so many great songs. Okay, the very first Whitney Houston song, I'll just sing it, and I'm going to sing it a couple of octaves lower. Okay, let's sing. I found out what I've been missing, always on the run. I've been looking for someone, but now you're here like you've been before, and you know just what I need. It took some time for me to see, yes, that you give good love to me, baby, so good. Take this heart of mine into your hands. You give good love to me. It's never too much. No, no, no. You give good love. Can't stop looking around. It's not what this was all about. Our love is here to stay, Baby, you give good love to me. You give, yeah. Okay, that wasn't her first song. I was in my mind, I was going to sing Saving All My Love for You, which was the first Whitney Houston song. And the first and one of the only times I got offered a record contract, because when Whitney Houston came out in 1983, 1984, everybody was looking for that voice, okay? Yes. And so someone approached me to be Colorado's, version of Whitney Houston. But you know what? So much mistrust in the industry, and I just didn't pursue it, and I asked my parents about it, and they were so bitter from their own, experiences and record. They really encouraged me not to do it. And I can't say that I don't have that I regret that I didn't do it, because I don't know what could have come from it. But at the same time, that was one of the times when I was reluctant to move forward, and I kind of lost the opportunity. But that was Saving All My Love was Whitney's very first hit. She blew everybody away. But that song I just sang was You Give Good Love by Whitney Houston.
That's so beautiful. So yeah, so see what I'm talking about? That voice. And so when we're like on our vocal classes and she's like, yeah, go, and I'm like, Cheryl.
But it's so funny because both of them, they sing so well together and with me.
Yeah, we
there's something to it. Yeah, because when I sing with you guys, you're able to hear the notes a little bit better and stay on pitch.
Yes.
And we can, as opposed to me just plucking it out on the piano and saying, sing. I sing along with you guys and kind of show you how to do it,
And he helped us out, like, okay, we're not there yet, or we're past it,
Think higher.
And she goes, or like this. Oh, with my daughter, remember when you were doing which one was it? I forgot.
Was it the Alicia Keys?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh no, I went too far.
Yeah.
So we laughed a lot, but we
did.
had a good time. And, hearing her voice, even, when we're just like warming up and things like that, that's just amazing to us. Just like, we're like, oh, okay, let's see that again. But that was crazy though. So who knows what would have happened if you had signed that contract?
I know. I tell you, I have self-sabotaged a lot.
But sometimes it's just so hard, and that's one of the things that we talk with my other guests, in this industry, to trust somebody. It is so hard because a lot of times they just want to lock you into a contract, and because they just, they have certain rules, the record labels, if you guys don't know, to have so many artists. And so they're like, okay, let's get all these artists, but they only help, like certain ones of them, and the other ones are just locked in there. You can't do anything because
That's
you have
right.
a contract.
And then please understand, now my mother's stage name is Katie Love and the Four Shades of Black. They signed with Muscle Shoals. Isaac Hayes signed my mother to his Stax label, and she just had bad experiences, and the people that I was around, being raised around people in the music industry that would sign these contracts and then they'd get shelved. Yes. And nothing would happen, and the record company wouldn't, or they put their all into it and they would never see a dime because the way the industry is set up, it's not set up for the artist. It's set up for the artist receives maybe a 1 to 2 pennies off of each album. Well, yes. Everything else goes to the record label and the promoters and everything. Just the nature of the business is really unfair to artists. So this is the energy that I was raised around, a really negative view of the recording industry, watching my parents sing and work their butts off, and we're still struggling to eat, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that also shaped my decision not to pursue the opportunity, to sign up. And it wasn't like Sony or one of the big names, you know what I mean, Arista or anybody. This was a promoter, a local promoter, who wanted to take his shot, and he felt like I was as good as Whitney Houston, and I had a chance. But
But even the big companies, they do this too. That's what it is, and that creates a lot of doubt to a lot of artists. And one of the things that I was looking at when I was watching one of the shows that I was telling you the other day, a series, this person got signed by this big company and everything, and they found out that actually that big company was doing like the fake CDs. I don't know how you call them in English, but in Spanish it's like pirata. They were not like the real CDs; they were just copies of it.
Copies.
So the company was the same one that was doing this fake copies and selling them, they're getting all the money, so that way they wouldn't give any money to the artists. So it's kind of like, you stop trusting people,
right.
and it's like, okay, what am I going to do regarding my career? Do I go independent, which is so hard to do too? A lot of people now,
back then it was harder.
Too. Yeah, back then it was harder.
But now it's easier. Now because of social media and because of the internet and because graphic designers, you can design your own CD, you can promote I produced my own CD, I went to the studio and, which I offer for free on my website, CherylRenee.com, Cheryl with an S. CherylRenee.com, you can get a free download of my CD that I produced. I love it so much. It's called Salute to the Legends. But I did that CD because, every time I sing, and this is not conceit, okay? This is not conceit. This is just the reality. Every time I sing, someone will come up to me and say, "You have touched me. You blessed me. You are so good." Sometimes they say, "Ooh, I'm going to connect you with this person," or "I'm going to connect you with that person." And then, but after 40 years of doing it for a living and not being connected to that person, I just felt like if I didn't produce my own CD, I was going to leave this beautiful planet without a CD.
Without a CD.
Even though I have sung on hundreds of CDs as a session vocalist. I have sung background on many, many CDs and commercials and whatnot. But as far as my own CD, I went into the studio and I recorded it, and it's called Salute to the Legends, and I featured 12 artists that meant the most to me when I was growing up, and Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire. I'm going down the list as I see it. Jackson 5, um, Carole King, Shaka Khan, number 8, The Carpenters, Barbara Streisand, Stevie Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
Stevie Wonder and the Commodores. I left somebody out. Did I say Aretha Franklin?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well, there were 12 songs.
So the other two, you had to go to her website and check them out.
Yeah.
But that's one of the good things that you went and did it. It's like I have my own album, and whatever happens from now on, we'll see. But let me translate that because before I don't want to forget this.
Okay.
Okay, so lo que estamos hablando es de que cuando salió Whitney Houston, todo el mundo andaba buscando como esa voz parecida a la de Whitney Houston, y una persona de aquí de Colorado pensó que Cheryl Renee tenía la voz como Whitney Houston y quería firmarla para empezar a grabarla. Pero como en ese entonces habían tenido muy mala experiencia, la gente alrededor de Cheryl, incluyendo la mamá, tuvo mala experiencia cuando firmó con una compañía de grabación. La tuvieron nada más, como quien dice, encapsulada, sin poder ella trabajar o sacar dinero. Y dice ella que a pesar de que veía que sus papás trabajaban mucho, no les daban dinero, porque les daban como 1 o 2 centavos de cada CD que vendían. Entonces era muy difícil. Entonces cuando le ofrecieron ese contrato a Cheryl Renee, ella dijo, no, pues ¿para qué? Porque va a pasar eso, o a lo mejor ya no voy a poder cantar como estoy cantando ahorita. Y decidió no tomarlo. Entonces ahorita, quién sabe qué hubiera pasado si lo hubiera firmado. Pero lo que hizo ella es como mucha gente que la escuchaba cantar le decía, oye, ¿sabes que yo conozco a fulano de tal? Te voy a conectar con esa persona para que puedas lanzar tu carrera más arriba. Pero nunca llegaba a esa persona, o sea, la conexión que le habían dicho nunca llegaba. Entonces ella dijo, ¿saben qué? Voy a hacer mi propio álbum, y porque no quiero irme de este planeta y no dejar nada. Entonces ella produjo su propio álbum y está en su página, que viene siendo CherylRenee.com.
Yeah.
Su webpage, CherylRenee.com. Ahí pueden bajar por gratis todo el álbum. Son 12 canciones que se llama Saludo a las Leyendas, y que tiene 12 canciones de diferentes artistas, 2 artistas que ella admiró cuando estaba creciendo. Así que vayan a bajar el álbum completo, ahí están. Mencionó a 10 de ellos, pero totalmente gratis. Así que, ¿qué más quieren? Así que sigamos con la entrevista. So you did that album. Are you thinking about doing another one?
Well, now I am. It's interesting.
When did you do this one?
That was 2004.
2004. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Well, I've sung on many projects since then, and again, we talked about the contribution. We did that album, and that got released in 2017. But I am relocating to Maui, Hawaii, and on Maui, I am connected with a studio there, Backlit Buddha. Oh, I'm going to say that again. Backlit Buddha Studios, and I'm just excited about the possibilities of, being able to start looking at music a little differently. Okay, let me back it up a little bit there, because I dropped the bomb for those of you who are like, what? And should we talk about that now?
Yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And let's start with, remember how we were talking at the beginning about changes and motivation, and it doesn't matter how old you are. If you still have goals, you can still work for them. This is one of them. Cheryl is moving from Denver, from Colorado, to Hawaii.
To Maui, Hawaii. Okay, let me just tell you this. I am a free spirit. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's going to say
Cheryl Renee.
Raised that way as a free spirit. My mother, honey, she was not bothered with us, okay? As long as we were in the house, by the time the lights came up at the end of the day, it didn't matter where we were. I mentioned earlier that I'm open to change. I'm open to change. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 1990, and I was there for 11 years. Then I moved back home to Colorado. Then I moved to New York City in 2011.
Oh, that's true too.
And then I moved when I left New York, a little less than 3 years I was there, I went back to Atlanta, Georgia, really because I had to heal from New York. I had to heal my soul. And
it's so different.
I tell you what, it was a great, great, great experience. I'm so glad I did it. My whole life, people had said, you should go to New York. You're an actress, you're a singer, you're a producer, you do all of these things. You should be in New York City. I wanted to be in New York City, but, I had kids. I was a single mother of 3 kids.
And it's hard with kids.
It's hard, and I would not have taken my children to New York and taken them, you know what I mean? But once my youngest child finished school, I was on the road.
This is my opportunity.
I loaded up I had a Ford Explorer then. I loaded up my Ford Explorer blue.
Oh, you drove?
Oh, yeah, I drove, girl. I drove all around New York City. Well, I was 49 years old when I moved to New York. I was 49 years old, okay? So I wasn't a spring chicken. I had been in the industry, been singing. I had been singing for a living since I was, I think, 21. I was 21 when I finally stopped working jobs and just decided to, sing for a living. So, the good thing about New York was that I went with all of my experience, okay? And at this point, by the time I go to New York, I'm producing. I'm not just singing, I'm producing. I'm an award-winning actress, okay? I'm have sung in every kind of band. So I went there with a lot of experience. But New York City is New York City. And I would go to the open mics, and everybody who stepped up to that mic could sing their tails off, okay? It is exactly what you think. The best in the world go to New York City to do what they do, but you've also got what they call posers. These are people who just like, when the first time I went to audition for American Idol, no, The Voice.
Oh, The Voice.
I went to the audition for The Voice. I thought maybe I had a chance, but then I pulled up and they had something like 10,000 people show up for that audition. Now, out of those 10,000 people that showed up in New York to audition, trust me and believe, there were a lot of posers. And posers are people who want to do it, they can sing, you know what I mean? But I come from an era where you had to be able to, you didn't get a record deal if you couldn't sing. Yeah. If you didn't have serious talent, you could not, just because you like to sing, get in the industry. But all of that has changed now with these shows. All of America's Got Talent, American Idol, The Voice, all of these shows now give people more opportunity. I'll just say more opportunity, because one thing I know for sure, people love to sing. And I know for sure because every time I sing, not some of the time, every time I sing, somebody will say to me, I wish I could sing. And so now all of those people have an opportunity the same way I have an opportunity. But when I pulled up to that audition and I'm driving again, I drove 9 times out of 10 around New York City. And I'm driving up in Manhattan, and the line is, I'm talking blocks and blocks and blocks of people standing in line.
And the blocks in Manhattan, they're not small.
Well, I tell you what, I got right back on that freeway and took my tail home, because I was not about to get in that line. First of all, most of those people were never going to be seen. And then by the time I'm seen, here I am, 49, almost 50. The average age of the people in the audience is, in the teens and 20s. Like you watch American Idol right now. Everybody in there, they're 14, 15, 16, 19. Yes. And that's how it's always been. Wait, I'm digressing, so you pull me back. But if you look at all of the greats were teenagers when they started in this business. Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Carole King, Barbra Streisand. If you look at it, the industry has always been what they call in New York, new blood, fresh blood, So, I had some things against me when I went to New York City. Well, number one, I'm a thick girl, I went a size 2 when I went to New York. I was still a size 16. And, I was older. But where it helped me was that I went right in and started producing. I advertised myself. I paid to advertise myself. I would get calls for jobs. And soon I was hiring New Yorkers to work for me and to help go with me do these jobs and you know what I mean. But the thing that kept me in New York City was I design websites and I do graphic design. So I was building websites for people who were not used to self-promotion because New York City is an agency-based city. You know, most people have an agent in order to promote themselves and push. So that's how I stayed in New York. But when I left New York, back to what I was saying earlier, I had to heal my soul because, you know, you find out real quick that you're just one of many. And, you know, I look back on my photo album on Facebook and I'm like, man, I did so much in New York. But when I was there, ooh, Lord, help me, you know. So I went to Atlanta, then I moved back home here to Denver. Okay, fast forward now, we have just gone through the pandemic. First of all, I was in a show called Ragtime at the Boulder Dinner Theater, and our show got shut down March 13th, like a lot of the world. Our show got shut down because of COVID. Well, I lost all my work. Now, understand, as a freelancer, you're used to hustling your jobs. You're used to, you know, I don't know right now what I'll be doing. I have one job booked in September, but generally I don't know from month to month, you know what I mean, maybe a couple of months in advance what's going to come my way. So it's a faith walk. Yes. I just have faith that God has given me this gift and that he will open doors for me and that people will call me. The seeds that I've planted, people will call me. But after the pandemic, I just started looking at life differently.
Yes.
And I've got some challenges in my family. And so I have been going to Maui since 1998. Now, I always loved Hawaii. Loved Hawaii. I got to give credit to Elvis Presley. Come on.
It's his fault.
It's Elvis's fault. You know, but I was always attracted. Hawaii 5-0, always attracted to Hawaii. But in 1998, I went to a workshop, a beginning of the year workshop. Okay, this is January 4th, 1998. And it was being held by a mentor of mine named Linda Ketty. So Linda said to the class, you know, she was talking about the power of visualization, the power of manifestation, the power of vision boards, and just the whole thing. So at this class, she says to the entire class, where do you want to be New Year's Eve? Again, this is January 4th. Where do you want to be New Year's Eve? Well, I knew my goal was I wanted to go to Maui. And at that time, my Aunt Debbie and Uncle Julius were going every 2 years. They would go and stay for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And so they would go to Maui. Not any, you know, Maui is 7 islands, but they would go to this specific island of Maui. So just seeing the pictures, my Aunt Debbie's pictures and everything, I knew that Maui was the place that I wanted to go. So what she had us do, in that class, we made a vision board. And we got magazines and we, you know, put it all together. And I made my Hawaii vision board. But that wasn't the only assignment. We had to claim it. Anybody ask me what I'm doing for New Year's Eve that year, I have to say to them, I will be in Maui. Then you had to believe it. You just had to trust God, whatever your source. There were people in the class that didn't believe in God. But whatever it was, you just had to trust and know. Claim it, believe it, you know, just the whole thing.
Leave it.
Yeah, so, I was fired up when I left that class. So, fast forward 2 months. Oh, I might shed a tear here. I took a flight to Chicago to go hang out with a friend of mine who just died last month. He just passed away, and I'm thinking about him. But in hindsight, I see he was part of my great plan, you know, God's great plan for me. So, I was on my way to Chicago to hang out with a friend, and on that flight, I met a gentleman, and he and I were born the same year, 1962. And we sat on that plane, and we laughed and talked the entire flight. In the midst of it, I'm telling him about this, that I'm going to be in Maui. I told him about the whole thing.
Like, guess where I'm going to be on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be, New Year's Eve. I'm going to bring in the new year in Maui, Hawaii. And he was just, you know what I mean? And I was just so, serious about it and committed to it. And when I got off the plane, he handed me his business card. And he said, call me, I'm going to give you that ticket. This guy worked for a computer company. Y2K was coming up. So quite literally, every day he was on a plane to a different city to work on their computers, come back home the next day. So he had amassed all of this mileage. And so he gave me, within 2 weeks, I had the ticket in my hand. Back then it was paper tickets. Within 2 weeks, I had the ticket to Maui in my hand. Now, that was March. I had the ticket by April. From April to December, I saved $50 every 2 weeks to pay for my hotel and so that I could afford this trip. And I spent New Year's Eve in Maui, Hawaii. Okay? By myself. I went by myself. Now, while I'm there in Maui, there was another sister, another black woman that was staying at this hotel that I was staying at, the Maui Islander. I'll never forget it. And we're standing outside talking, and a guy pulls up and says, hey, welcome to Maui, aloha. Listen, we have a Kwanzaa celebration tonight on the island. Would you ladies be interested? For those of you who don't know, Kwanzaa is an African-American celebration that happens from December 26th through January 1st. So, of course, we said yes. We went to Kwanzaa. Okay, at that time, I was teaching seatbelt safety to the kids in Atlanta, Georgia. I would go to different schools, and I had costume characters, and my children were a part of the show. And so we get in the car, we're driving to this Kwanzaa celebration, and he's the head of the Arts Education for Children group. And here I am, I'm on the island. Not only do I sing, but I have a children's show. Fast forward, the next year, I'm back on Maui doing my show for the daycares on the island of Maui. And I have been going to Maui now for the last 24 years. I've been there 15 times. Every time I go, I sing. I'm producing different shows. I brought Frida Payne. I brought shows that I produced and wrote. I wrote a play called Sisters and Storytellers. So all that to say, Maui is my second home. Maui is my home away from home, okay? So, yes, now we have the COVID. We have, just people dying left and right. I can't tell you how many friends I lost to COVID. And it just made me start looking at life a little differently. And the bottom line is this: tomorrow is not promised to any of us. God willing, I'll be 60 years old this year, okay? I'm 59 years old. My children are all grown. And so I went to Maui in January. I always hate to leave there. I can't even express to you how much I love it. Love, love, love it. But I have so many friends. 24 years I've been going to Maui. I have friends on that island. It's very familiar to me. And so this time, I didn't go to Maui in January with the intention of moving there. But when I got there, I think I was there a day or two, and it's like, why? Why shouldn't I live here? Why shouldn't I? I'm still a working entertainer. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to retire.
Yeah.
It's the reality of it. There are people who have retirement set up and 401ks. This is not my life,
No, I neither.
I still, right now, it's month to month to month to month to month. So I thought I could do month to month to month in Maui. I can come over here. I can produce. I have an interior redesign business. I'm a professional organizer. That's one thing I did during COVID. I went to school and got my certificate to be a professional organizer. But I'm like, all these condos on Maui, I could do that in Maui, you know?
Yes.
And so I called Christian and I said, honey, I am ready to move to Maui. And he said, okay, well, let's save, let's plan, let's wait a year or two. And I was like, you can wait a year or two.
You say?
I'm looking at my calendar. I have no jobs. I did not have one job on my calendar. I'm like, no, now is my time. Now is the time. So I'm going ahead and plant the seeds and till the ground and get things going over there and setting things up for us. But yeah, I'm going to Maui. I figure this is in a, just to sum it all up. I can't retire. I can't see retiring for me. I will probably sing until the day I take my last breath. But I want to position myself to be in the place that I would retire. If I could retire,
enjoying.
I would live in Maui, Hawaii, there on that ocean, being that close to the ocean. And so that's what I'm doing, and I leave June 1st.
So see, guys. Oh, and then also she, since she was, she decorates stuff, and she has her business. She's selling all the stuff, and you can go to her website. Right?
Yeah.
That's where you guys can see what she has to help her out, because I mean she's selling everything
and you have seen. Tell them, don't I have a lot of stuff, girl?
Yeah, she has a lot of stuff of everything you can imagine. So make sure.
I'm liquidating.
Yeah, even outfits. I got an outfit last Monday.
Baby, I hooked her straight up.
It's amazing. I can't wait to wear it. I don't know where to, but my husband is like, "We're going to the show."
I told her today, she's like, what are you wearing? I said, don't you show up in that copper suit. No, but I'm liquidating my inventory right now.
Yes.
How homewares. I just happen to have found this absolutely fabulous size 0 suit. Hello.
She's like, it's size 0, and I'm like, I don't think I can fit in it.
Yeah.
And then I look at it like,
she put that suit on. She looked like $20 million. Do you hear me? It was made for her. Long legs, her plenty, wide leg lines. Oh man, I tell you what.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait till you guys see it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where I'm gonna wear it, like I said, but you guys are gonna see it. It's amazing. But yeah, it was so funny. Like my husband's like, you wearing it to the show? And I'm like, no. But it's beautiful. But if you're looking for anything for the house, whatever, go check out her website.
Curtains, rods, clips, outlet covers. What I do, affordable room makeovers that I will be doing on the island, even though I'm going to change the name because there's already a name with an interior designer on the island that has my same name.
No
way! It's okay. It's a
way.
fresh start. I need love. I need aloha on the island. I don't want to go over there competing with anyone,
Yes.
making it harder for myself or her because we have the exact same name, affordable, right? But I'm going to change the name. But what I do is I go in and I restage a room. We do deep cleaning, whatever you're missing. You need curtains, you need a lamp, you need whatever you need to finish and complete your room. That's what we do.
Pictures,
we bring it in.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. So subsequently, pillows, you saw the stuff.
Yes.
We have furniture covers. Well, during COVID, we were volunteering with ABC Ministries. It's a food bank on 49th and Washington every Saturday. The grocery stores, they don't throw their food away anymore. That was a big thing about the grocery stores just tossing food when it could have been given to help people. Well, this wonderful food bank on 4920 Washington Street, ABC, ABC Food Bank and Ministries.org is the website. But anyway, they also get donations from the big box companies when they get returns or when they take their displays down. They can't sell that stuff, so they donate it. So during the pandemic, we volunteered for the food bank every weekend. And there's like a little thrift store in there, so we were steadily, we were buying stuff with the price, you know what I'm saying? You give a donation and, we collected a lot of inventory. All of that to say, there's a lot of inventory. So call me. Just go to Cheryl Renee, or you can reach me at Cheryl through CherylReneeHawaii.com right now, or Affordable Room Makeovers is the name of my company, and just reach out. And I'm putting a lot of it on Facebook Marketplace, but I'm also inviting people to come over and just shop my basement.
Yeah, I think if you go, because I mean there's so many little things that probably they can't see, or like you didn't make it to put it on the marketplace or your webpage. It's good that they can come and see everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff, like I said, and she has it well organized. I mean, it's like my daughter is crazy about, she's a shopper, so every time we go there, she's kind of like looking everywhere, right, Cheryl? She's like,
and I try to keep her out of that little room because I want her to shop. I want her to go in there and shop. But
yeah, but she looks and she's like, wow, it's like a store, like, she goes
It
crazy.
is. It's a thrift store back there. But
yeah.
I am a professional organizer, so I
Yes.
put it all together to make it look like a store.
Yeah, so make sure, like, if you're coming, you're going to benefit from the price, but also you're going to be helping her to make her dreams reality. I mean, she's living anyways, but
But this is how I'm raising how I'm raising my money to move.
Exactly. So helping out a little bit. But that is a crazy story. Like, I didn't know
the Maui story.
The Maui story.
Yes, girl. I manifested
story.
it. I visualized it and manifested it, and of course, all of it under the grace of God. I don't take. Everything I do for me is under the grace of God.
Because a lot of times, I mean, how many times we want to manifest something, but we don't believe it ourselves. We can't do that. And a lot of people say, well, why when you say something, that stuff happens, because they had the faith. It's like believing.
Yeah.
But most of us are like, nah, so you
started this show off saying you had a conversation with somebody about.
Yes.
So,
well, last night I was, we were talking about you. They were asking me, like, who are you having tomorrow? I said, well, I had Cheryl Renee. And then he confused you with another singer that I had before. And I was like, no, that's so-and-so. Like, Cheryl Renee, you met her because he was at a night around the world.
Okay.
Like, oh, my God, like, she sings beautiful. I'm like, yeah, and she's leaving and she's moving to Maui. It's like, I wish we can do that. And I said, we all can. And then he's like, what are you talking about? And like, you and I can. I know we both want to, but we're just afraid. We're afraid to start from zero, and we're afraid of the new stuff. We're afraid of not being able to be where we are right here, which
familiar.
We're not. Yeah, we're not like so happy either, but at the same time we're scared of leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, "Wow, it's like you're right." So he just opened my, and he's single, so he has no kids, so. It's like, if I was you, I mean, and he can still work. He's an engineer, so he works from home. And probably he's watching us. Are you watching us, Mike? Yes. Kisses. There he is. So it's like, why not? So that's one of the things that just thinking about stuff that sometimes we're just so afraid of. And here you are, it's like you have to come to my party, my birthday party, So I'm going to be in Maui one more time.
In September. I'm having a 60th birthday party in Maui, and it's on my website, Cheryl Renee Hawaii. I have it all documented, why I'm going. I felt like I had to explain to people, because there are people who are like, she's crazy. What is she doing? You know what I mean? She's almost 60 years old, and she's picking up, and she's starting over. And here's the thing. I'm only going with my tools for my redesign business, my microphones and my equipment for singing, not my sound system, but just microphones, and my clothes. I'm starting from scratch because I'm going to document how you start from scratch in a new place. And it all involves thrift stores, the Restore, the Salvation Army, all of these the Goodwill, all of these wonderful stores that are on Maui. Hello!
Yeah, so make sure that you're following her, so that way you guys know. Let me see, I have a lot of comments. And also I was going to ask you, Cheryl, before we continue with the comments, my dad's birthday was on the 20th. And I know, 420, that was my dad's birthday. Yes, but he loves you.
He does.
And he's sick. He's been sick, very sick the last couple of days. And I want you to see if you can sing to him happy birthday.
What's his name?
Jorge.
Jorge? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jorge. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Thank you. Ahí le va, papá. Feliz cumpleaños. Espero que sienta mejor. Yeah, he's been not doing well. Where did my comments go? Oh, there you go. Okay, so let me see. Mai Martinez. Thank you. Thank you for watching, my friend. Kisses. There's my mom, too. Gracias, mama. And my mom and my dad is with you. Dan Kramer, blessings and best wishes always. Thank you. Scott Cliff. Scott lives in New York. I went to high school with him.
Okay.
He's in New York.
Okay.
I was talking to him like he was in Denver. He's like, oh, I live in New York now. Oh, okay. So thank you so much for watching us. Carlos Portillo, love this song. Thank you, my friend. Excellent voice. My Martinez, Whitney is in the house.
In the house. I love
Sí, yo merito. Saludos. Gracias, amigo, por estarnos viendo. Mamá, hola, tarde, pero segura. Mil disculpas. Saludos. She said she came in to tune in a little bit late. Joe Flores. Hello, Silvia. Hello, Joe. How are you? My Martinez, so inspiring. So, see, that's one of the things that I'm telling you is like, that's inspiring.
Okay, but you have to spot. Now you have to tell them the Maui story in Spanish.
Yes, I have to tell you the Maui story.
Okay, now I'm going to go grab my water.
Okay,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
go
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
So I'm gonna translate, a little bit of this, summarize, that beautiful story. Okay, pues como nos cuenta Cheryl René de que por qué escogió cambiarse a Maui, Hawái. Dice que una vez fue a una clase donde le enseñaron a visualizar las cosas, que era como manifestar y todo eso. Entonces le dijeron que tenían que hacer el famoso